I, Kyle Pryor, do hereby solemnly swear or affirm to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Streetsboro, and that I will perform the duties of firefighter medic for the City of Streetsboro Fire Department, to which I have been appointed to the best of my ability. We got it. Congratulations.
So you should sit next to her.
Please, we are double park inside. No. And this is actually nice to see just to still just it is a difference. I feel pretty different over here. I do. Oh, I like that means oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be.
Yep. Fair. Very just.
Like that. All right, raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Nathan R. Hilton,
I, Nathan R. Hilton,
do hereby solemnly swear or affirm
do hereby solemnly swear
to uphold
to uphold
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and the Charter and ordinances
and the Charter and ordinances
of the City of Streetsboro,
of the City of Streetsboro,
and that I will perform
and that I will perform
the duties of firefighter medic
the duties of firefighter medic
for the City of Streetsboro Fire Department,
for the City of Streetsboro Fire Department,
to which I have been appointed,
to which I have been appointed,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability,
You got it.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
I've got not working.
Here you would be. Thanks. Thank you.
Matt Buckman, can you make sure that mic's on phone?
All right, Wendy, what we're gonna do is,
Oh.
we have a finance meeting.
Testing.
So.
You have to, that's what?
For a while.
Oh, here.
Yeah, that might have been. Sorry,
You guys ready? Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I'd like to call this Finance Committee meeting of Monday, September 23rd to order. If we could stand, please, for the invocation and pledge. Ms. McDaniel, please lead us in the invocation.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity this evening to gather, Lord, and to manage the affairs of the city of Streetsboro. Lord, thank you for all of your blessings and all of the opportunities you give us. Please help us to work with wisdom and integrity this evening. And Father, I also pray for healing in our nation and in our individual lives. Lord, you know everyone's needs in this country and individually, Lord, and I just pray that you as the great physician would heal. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Bridget, can you please call roll?
Here. Present.
Here?
Here. Here.
Here.
Make a motion to excuse Mr. Lombardo.
Second.
First and second to excuse Mr. Lombardo. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, he is excused. All right, before we get into the meeting, the mayor has an appointment, so I'd like to entertain a motion to recess out of finance.
So moved.
Second.
First and second to recess out of finance. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are recessed.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I was reading ahead. Go ahead and make your appointment to PERC Act. I'm
So
sorry.
we gotta.
All right, I'd like to call this regular council meeting, see how much trouble you are, to order of Monday, September 23rd, 2024. Roll call, please.
Here. Here. Mrs. McDaniel.
Present.
Ms. Glenn.
Here.
Mr. Ring.
Here?
Mr. Mishniak.
Here.
Mr. Ham.
Here.
I need a motion to excuse Mr. Lombardo.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? He is excused. All right, now we're skipping down to item 10. Mayor, you have the floor.
Wendy, can you go to the podium here? Councilman, Wendy Scott Kemp. She is currently a member of PERC, and she is seeking her second term. And from what I've heard from Greg, she is a contributor, and she does a good job over there. And I am asking council to reappoint her to PERC for another term.
Very good. Any questions?
I don't. I just want to say thank you for volunteering.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Happy to.
for your service. All right, I'll need a motion to approve the reappointment.
So moved. I'll make a motion to appoint Miss Scott Kemp to the PERC for her second term.
First and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none? The appointment is accepted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's enough time to go bathe the kids.
All right, I'll need a motion to recess out of regular council.
So moved.
First and a second, we will come back. Wait, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are in recess. I'll move to reconvene the Finance Committee meeting.
A first and a second to reconvene the Finance Committee meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are back in finance. All right, item 4. Oh, sorry.
Yes. I can do it. She's still getting that. Just take a breath. Okay, we're caught up to you, but just be considerate. Yeah, back into finance, 707. Mark. So we have the first item on the finance agenda.
Okay, item 4, disposition of minutes. Special Finance Committee meeting of September 9th, 2024.
Make a motion to accept those as presented.
Second.
I have a first and second to accept the minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, they are accepted. All right, item 5, monthly financial report. Mr. Matt Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Ring. This is the monthly financial report for August 2024. We are 2/3 of the way through the year already. And the email I got last week in regards to, for general fund, expenses and encumbrances were at about 68%. Last year, we were a little bit lower than that at about 62%. So, but our general fund revenues this year are at almost 85%, and that it's an uptick of 6% from last year at this time. So I like to kind of look at that year-to-date stuff versus where were we at last year versus where we're at now. Total expenses for the city is about 61%. That's divided up between expenditures and POs, and then revenues are doing quite well at about 86%. That's pretty high above target. PO balances are looking pretty good. We're a little bit about 1.1 million lower than last year. A lot of that has to deal with construction. So depending on where our construction contracts are, that can kind of skew things. But the general fund, we're about $1.5 million. We work with departments heavily near end of the year to make sure POs get closed. Last year I was at about half that. So we actually already sent out emails last week to make sure getting POs closed, getting ready for the end of the year, getting an idea where fund balance is going to be, which is very important as we go into the 2025 budget. We have quite a few, just the normals are up, like income tax, interest earnings, those are up. Hotel motel tax is up considerably. And actually EMS revenue has also been ticking up, which is nice to see. We have a few revenues that are kind of down this far into the year. Some of my permit revenue is down, but that's pretty self-explanatory. We're not building houses. We do get some money from commercial things, but I'll probably wait another month at least, get into the fourth quarter before I start downgrading some of the revenues. Just, hey, we expected this, but we're really getting this. And another one is cable franchise fees. That's pretty self-explanatory. People are streaming more. They're not getting cable. And then one other one that was on my radar was property tax was lower than what I was expecting to get. So we know there's one other check from a smaller check from the county, but I will probably have to downgrade that as well. Getting near the end of the year, a lot of our expenses, especially, I remember this from last year, gasoline, vehicles, parts and supplies, those are looking really good. Last year with gas prices up and a lot of vehicle repairs, I was getting a little concerned, but this year they are a lot lower. Insurance, keeping an eye on that. And then of course OT, I'm about 46% average across the city. And so any questions on any of the financials for August? I hope I didn't go too fast, Bridget, but it's recorded.
Mr. Miller, when can we expect to have a rough draft of next year's budget in front of us?
The first finance meeting in October. So then I like to do my first read, the second council in October, and then 2 and 3 in November. And that way, that leaves me December for other things.
Well, if it's on for first read at the finance meeting in October, I'd like to have it in my hands weeks before that.
Sure. Yeah, we just completed last week our meetings with the mayor. Each department has to, with myself, we have them all enter their budgets, and then the mayor and I sit down with each department and we go over their budget, and then finance takes care of loading the personnel budget. And we have to, one of the last things I do is look at medical. Medical's, it's a toss-up. So that's kind of one of the last things I'll enter. But yeah, we can certainly start getting drafts if you would like. And then we'll present it. I forget, I think it's October 24th.
First meeting in October?
Second meeting. It's around there. So that's kind of when that way, in case, that gives us a month buffer, in case council wanted to look into things a little bit more.
Yeah.
We'd have the month of December. So I kind of like leaving that extra month instead of doing this all last minute.
Yeah. Thank you. Any further discussion or question? All right, if there are none, we'll move on. Item 6, old business, there is none. Item 7, new business. We need a motion to reschedule the December finance and regular council meetings and packet day. Mr. Miller, I know you'd like to, assuming you'd like to reschedule that meeting to the 30th, so you have all your end of year stuff ready to go.
I talked it over with my team, that Monday, the 23rd is the last payroll for the city. And I believe Kara can get it booked in time just so we can see if any lines. So I would just bring an adjustment to council that night. But she thinks we have enough time to where we could process payroll, get it into the system, and then run reports. And then I would know. Because last year it was like a Medicare line went over or something. I don't like any of that. I can't have anything over. So,
So you do not need,
I'm between the 23rd or the 30th. I will work with, the more I talk with my team, we think we can get it done in time. But that also leaves just a week for if something breaks,
does council, does anybody have plans for either of those days? I mean, 23rd is only 2 days before Christmas, so I don't know if anybody's gonna be out of town. Maybe more likely to be that week than the 30th. Does anybody have the plans that they know of for the 23rd? That would be easier to be here on the 30th anyway? Or does anybody have plans for the 30th and vice versa?
Yeah.
Everybody's good? Okay. So whatever you prefer. I mean, I don't mind the 30th. I just think it's safer. That way we don't have to scramble to schedule something special or if something does happen. So
yeah, I do. I would prefer the 30th. It would give me a little more time. And if there's any, it's not just payroll. If there's any other emergencies that come up and I need to move money around, I can't just fluke it out of another GL. I have to say which GL it is.
Right.
So that would help me out.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to move, well, at least the finance meeting to the 30th. I guess we can move council and regular council, but or can we do that all now?
Let's do it all at the same time.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to move the finance committee meeting and regular council meeting of December 23rd to December 30th to begin at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
We have a first and second to move those meetings. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, those meetings are moved. Packet Day. Now, Packet Day would be Christmas Day. So,
Closed the 24th as well.
right. So do we want to make it give you the 27th, that Friday? Is that going to be enough time?
That would be good.
Okay. So then I'll entertain a motion to, I guess, suspend the packet rule and move the day for that week to the 27th.
So moved.
Second. First and second to move Packet Day to the 27th. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that is moved. Okay, thank you. All right, item B on here, T7662, approved PACE loan documents with Portage County Port Authority. I've been told that this is not ready for anything, so I'd just like to entertain a formal motion to table this until further notice.
So second.
First, second to table this item until further notice. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that is tabled.
It's T7.
662, yep. Item C, T7663, purchase DVRs and GetTac in-car camera system. Chief Wayne.
What we're looking to do is replace all the DVRs that are in all of our marked cars. They do all the control for the in-car cameras. We've reached end of life with the current ones that we have. It was meant to be a split-year project. However, we're starting to get ones that are getting stuck on, getting stuck off. They are sticking on the start screen. They randomly come on, causing dead batteries in the cruiser. So rather than wait and continue with the safety issues since we had the money in the budget. I just want to go ahead and replace them this year. Coming out of the 401 5745 is 47,848.84, and out of 401 5741 that's 1553.70, and again that will replace all of the DVRs.
All the cameras as well?
Yeah, we'll also be getting upgraded cameras that have the capability of doing, they have LPR, which is license plate reader.
Just a question, is there anything we can do with the old equipment? Is that anybody,
That would be that would be a good question for him.
whatever the auction.com site, the cityauction.com, or whatever that is. I mean, just get something out of them, or are they just junk?
We will raise it. No, but
Right. Especially, I would imagine, I mean, the DVRs might be going bad, but I would assume the cameras are probably still functional, right? And maybe get some value out of those, so. Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion. Oh, sorry.
I was just asking, any discussion or questions on this?
I'll make a motion. Second.
First and second to send this to regular council. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that is moved. Okay, item D, T7664, parent asphalt change orders for Frank, Floyd North Bicentennial Park. Mr. Mediger.
Yeah, so this is a change order to complete the project, hopefully, fingers crossed. We found a discrepancy in the concrete estimates for the project, so that was a needed increase there. And then the electrical, this would be everything from the pole over to the pavilion and the site electrical. We're still waiting on First Energy to get back to us to energize the site itself. But these would be an addition to the estimate that parent had given us the first time. So it'd be an additional 11.5 for the concrete and 12 for the electrical materials. And this would come out of the 401-325-773 Parks and Rec improvements. Again, this is also tied with the state fund that we received. So once we get the project done, then I can finish the report and send it off to the state to get reimbursed.
How much was the state fund? 250?
245.
And this total project is 360?
It's good. Yeah, it's up to 360. We had originally budgeted 500.
Any discussion on this item? If there's no further discussion, I'll I'll entertain them.
Send it to regular council tonight of this evening.
Second.
I have a first and a second to send this to full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that is sent. All right, item E, T7665, correct error in pay ordinance. Mr. Knott.
we had used an older sheet when we appointed the deputy clerk, and so we put in an older version of her pay scale.
Gotcha. Is that also on this exhibit that I have attached? It's the clerk of council that has changed.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Clerk.
Oh, the clerk, okay. But the deputy clerk of council still,
Yes, that's correct.
that wasn't meant to be the same? Okay, I'm just making sure that we have it right now. Any discussion or questions?
Make a motion to move that to tonight's full council.
Second.
First and second to move T7665 to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that is moved. All right, item F, T7666, authorized contract with Unity Health for firefighter annual physical. Mr. Bradholt.
Thank you, Mr. Ring. Per the contract, we do annual physicals, and we do them in the fall. So we sent out for 3 bids, and we have Unity with the lowest bid and our preferred company, only because they come to the station and draw bloods and do other things, which helps us instead of sending the guys out to the medical office and, not being able to respond. So we have the money budgeted, because it's an annual event, and it's for $18,223.76, and I like the legislation not to exceed 18.5, just in case they have to retest or do something, so I don't have to come back to council with that little adjustment.
This is the same company we've been using, correct?
Correct.
Any discussion or questions? If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to move this to tonight's full council.
So moved.
Second.
First and second to move this to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it is moved. Okay, item G, P7661, amend 2024 annual appropriations. Mr. Matt Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Ring. This is just a bunch of money moving around. One of the main appropriations is just for our expenses from when we went for the City Hall bond. It's a net zero effect, but for GAAP compilation, I have to have those expenses in our financial system, even though we didn't have to cut a check for it. Some various funding from department requests, moving money between like overtime and contractual, also moving money for Floyd North. And I did also want to request Exhibit B be presented for, and this is in regards to doing a sidewalk project. I was planning on doing this in 2025, but our very eager service director would like to do it this year. So I said, okay, I'll move money, just weather dependent. And so I'm requesting an additional exhibit to be accepted. I don't know the right terminology, Bridget, for council to make that budget adjustment as well.
The first order of business, I'll entertain a motion to add Exhibit B to the package, appointments package.
So moved.
I have first and second to add Exhibit B to T7661 ordinance package. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that has been added. Are there any questions or concerns on this topic? Discussion? Mr. Hina?
Mr. Bill Miller, can you just tell us about the project? It's right in front of Bob Evans.
Yeah, from Bob Evans to 303 Light. So that section of sidewalk is not there. There isn't a sidewalk. That's the one that we will be adding new.
Perfect.
And
Is there already a crosswalk there too?
there's a crosswalk. We're going to redo the crosswalk, make the sidewalk come up right next to the button they push to go across. And the rest of the way down towards Dairy Queen, all of them, there was all sidewalks all the way down that way. So this completes it up to that point, and across the, to the center of town, there's sidewalks too.
Yeah, I notice people all the time.
They're walking
down, and then they have to walk in the grass by Bob Evans. So it's a good little.
When I was measuring it out, they were doing that.
Good little addition. So if there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to move this to tonight's full council.
Is it on there?
So moved.
It is. It is. It's first item tonight.
Who moved? Ms. Glenn?
Yeah.
And Ms. Wagner second. All right, I have a first and second to move this to tonight's full council. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, let us move. All right, item 8, citizens' comments. Donna? Okay. She's not a resident, she's a citizen. 8, announcements. A regular council meeting will immediately follow this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
First and second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
You look like you are too. It's weird.
It looks like
Yes, they do. We're all friendly now, but give it a few months. All Justin's buddies hacking me on Facebook like last time.
Yep.
Can't wait. Got some good friends, I'll say that.
I'm sorry. In just a sec.
No, you're good. We're moving along fast. Yeah, it's the illusion we're running late because we lost the daylight.
it's all one thing before it's darkness and
Yeah, we got
Ready?
downfall.
I will make a motion to reconvene into full council.
First and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are back in session. The next item on the agenda is item 3, the disposition of minutes. We have one set of minutes that are ready. That's the regular council meeting of September 9th, 2024. I'll need a motion to accept and dispose of said minutes.
So moved.
Have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, those are approved. Item 4 is citizen comments. Any citizen comments? Hearing none. Item 5, reports, communications from departments, boards, and commissions. Let's start with Chief Wayne.
I guess the only major thing that we've had recently that I wanted to talk about was, I'm sure most of you have read, seen, heard about the prank calls, spoof calls that have been coming in through third parties, first parties against the schools. I want to say that in the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 of them here. The first one was a juvenile under arrest within, I believe, about 2 hours from when the actual threat was made. The second one, our officers did some extremely good work in tracking that one down. It's not one that typically would be found. That being said, we're making a push with the schools to let the kids know that this is serious business. We now have an 11-year-old and a 15-year-old that are being charged with felonies for this. It is no joke, and we are definitely going to come after hard anybody that's doing this. It's scaring residents, it's scaring the teachers, it scares the kids, and it's really unfortunate that that's where we're at. But I can tell you, I'm really proud of the whole team that came together for the second one. I did not think we were going to be able to track this kid down, and they did a really good job doing so.
They were both local kids?
Yes. I will say, a lot of people think they're all in the schools. Some of these kids are homeschooled, and they're still making threats toward the school. So it is not all of our kids that are in the schools. And keeping your kids at home is not always the best answer as well.
Thank you, Chief.
That's all.
Chief Reinholds.
My cheaters on, thank you.
Please.
Any questions on the activity summary Captain Grimm puts out, the calls we go on? Okay. We've been participating with the schools, all of them, last Wednesday for school drills, fire drills. Worked very close with the schools. We had the swearing in tonight of full-time, part-time firefighters. We've been doing company inspections. The company's been going out inspecting businesses for violations and familiarization with the businesses. We're complete training with the first part-time we hired. Now we'll be finishing up, starting the training for the second one. And this morning I was telling the mayor at the director's meeting that our SAFER grant, the fiscal year for the federal government is September 30th. So the SAFER grant awards come out on Fridays, which we didn't get anything last Friday. So this Friday would be our last chance to get the SAFER grant. And about 6 p.m. this evening, we got awarded the SAFER grant. the SAFER grant that we submitted, it was back in April, for $1,184,714.01 for 3 firefighters. So,
How long is that, 3 years?
for 3 years.
Nice.
So we have 30 days to either accept or decline to the FEMA, the federal government. So I've been working with Mr. Matt Finance Miller. I faxed over the figures that we put into the grant, and he's come up with some calculations. So.
Is that going to be at next finance or?
Well, the 14th is our next meeting.
It would be a special.
Well, the 14th is a regular, yeah. Well, a safety.
Finance.
Okay.
Safety meeting you can do too. Yeah.
I mean, we can do it at a safety meeting, but I'll need to know thumbs up or thumbs down. So basically, I'm just curious, what, if any questions you have that I can have the answers for you instead of saying, I don't know.
I think the last time we talked, I don't want to speak for everyone, but we were kind of, talking about the pros and cons, and we kind of decided, free money, let's take it. And then as long as it was clear contractually with whoever we hired that if we fall on hard times, this job may evaporate and go away. Right. And I think it would help for you guys to be able to say, yep, that's going to be well known to the hirees, that it might be a 36-month job and might go to zero at that point, right, because the city could go into, there could be an emergency, financial, or we could lose funds. And I remember that being a big hang up. So if we're, at least for me, of my 1 to 7 votes, as long as when we hire these folks, they know that and we're legally protected from them suing us saying, well, I had a job and I should get to stay because this person and that. As long as they know it's tentatively 3 years, and that's it.
I think that Shauna can incorporate that into the offer letter.
Yeah.
And that way they sign it and they know it.
Yeah, I just remember us talking about that and being worried that they would try to hang on. Obviously we want to keep them and we want to find the money. And you talked a lot about that, Mayor, about finding the money down the road and why give up 3 years of free. And that's really what changed my mind. Was I was like, yeah, I agree. Why give up 3 years of free if everyone's open-ended, eyes wide open? It might be 3 good years and then nothing. Or we might keep you. We just don't know till then. So as long as it's that set up.
We'll definitely let them know. But it's common knowledge in the fire service circles that you're hired under a SAFER grant. There's no guarantee 3 years later. So they know that when they take the job. There's also more and more lateral transfers. So they have 3 years experience. They have 3 years in the pension. They got 3 years of experience to go to another department. But hopefully things will work out that we can keep them, but there's no guarantee, and they would know that. There's no guarantee.
Cool. Any other questions?
Well, if you have any questions, please email me so, I can research it or whatever.
I just want to ask this.
Yeah.
Did you talk to him ahead of time this time first? Okay.
I called him as soon as I found out.
I just remember that being an awkward moment afterwards.
So we were very fortunate.
I'm trying to have some humor to it. I know you weren't having fun that night.
There was only 5 other communities in the state of Ohio that received the SAFER grant. And tonight, we were the 6th. So I was very surprised, very happy. So I'll be bringing it up at the next council, but please, if you have any questions about the SAFER grant, email me so I can make sure I get you the 100% answer.
I think we hashed out pretty much everything when we beat this thing over a couple meetings, right?
And then I'll be working with Mr. Matt Finance Miller, looking at the numbers, because we projected numbers in there that we just settled a contract with the full-timers, and we'll see how those numbers correspond. This is we were planning on negotiating. How the negotiations finally finished might be a little bit different. But I talked to the Chief Anderson, who wrote the grant, and he goes, sometimes there's whatever goes above and beyond the almost $1.2 million, then we're liable for. Sometimes that may be 1-2%, depending on how the contracts go over a period of time. So, just so you know. Okay.
Gotcha. Thank you. Anything from the law department, Mr. Knott?
No, I have nothing at this time.
All right. Shauna, Matt left. Anything? Nothing. Greg?
We are taking registrations right now for the annual trunk or treat event. So bigger, better, scarier, more candy, all that good stuff. So that'll be happening on October 24th at the City Park. So we're getting ready for that and just keeping our heads above water, staying busy.
Very good, thank you. Patrick, anything?
I'll be waking up very early morning tomorrow to drive up to Detroit to go to a very prestigious economic development deal-making conference.
Very good, good luck.
Thanks.
Happy hunting. John?
Thank you. I just wanted to mention to council that the draft short-term residential rental regulations were passed by Planning Commission at the last meeting with no changes to what this council had referred down to them. So they will be on the next, on the October 14th agenda for consideration and first read if comfortable. Also working on a slew of other smaller scale text amendments, but we'll wait till they are vetted by the law department before moving forward with them. But I'm working on a good number of other text amendments as well.
Very good.
Thank you.
Justin?
As promised to council, we are under review for half of Arrowhead Trail's water main replacement, so we should be coming to you guys to go out to bid fairly soon. So,
thank you. Mr. Miller?
Brush pickup starts this week, hopefully 2 to 3 weeks, and we're done with that, and then we'll go right into leaves. So, is the season.
Thank you. Mr. Miller?
Nothing else to comment on.
Very good. Hold on. A moment, let the minutes catch up. Feel good? Yeah, all you're gonna get? All right. Next item is item 6. This is the introduction of legislation containing statements of emergency.
Mr. Mishniak, before we read, can I make a motion to suspend the 3-read rule for T7661, T7663, T7664, T7665, and T7666?
We tabled 662.
Yeah, I didn't read that one out.
We tabled that to the another, well, whenever we want to add it. Yeah.
I do have 6, 3, 4, 6, 6. And so motions to suspend, and Justin was first. And did I get a second?
Mr. Hannon was second. All right, a first and a second. Roll call when ready, please.
Mr. Ring?
Yes.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Ms. McDaniel?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes. So those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items have been, the rules have been suspended for those 5. Now we'll need to vote on them. All right, T7661, amend the 2024 annual appropriations, number 10. Clerk, read by title, please.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 2023-156, the 2024 annual appropriation ordinance, number 10.
Motion to adopt?
Do we have to say as amended or no?
No.
It's
No, we already did.
Are you seconding that, Mr. Hannon?
Yeah, second.
All right, first and a second.
Committee.
As amended in committee. The first is Mr. Ring, the second is Mr. Hannon. Roll call after that.
Mr. Ring?
Yes.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Ms. McDaniel?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes, T7661 passes and now becomes ordinance number 2024-134, 134. The next item is T7663, purchase DVRs for GTAC in-car camera systems for the police department. Clerk, read by title when you're ready.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Midwest Public Safety for GTAC cameras and DVRs for use by the police department in cruisers for an amount not to exceed $49,402.54 and declaring an emergency so the equipment can be immediately obtained.
Motion to adopt.
We have a first by Ms. Glenn and a second by Mr. Hannon to adopt the legislation. Roll call when you're ready.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Mr. Ring?
Yes.
Ms. McDaniel?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner? Yes. Mr. Mishniak?
Yes. T7663 passes and now becomes ordinance number 2024-135, 2024-135. Next item on the agenda is T7664, parent asphalt change orders for FNB Park. Clerk, read by title when you're ready.
An ordinance ratifying a contract with Parent Asphalt Company, Inc., ratifying the first change order to the contract and authorizing the mayor to execute a second and third change order to the contract for the installation of a new concrete floor and related electrical work at the Floyd North Bicentennial Park Pavilion for a total amount of $273,334 and declaring an emergency in order to complete the work as soon as possible.
Motion to adopt.
Is it first by Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
All right, and do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Wagner is the second. All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner? Yes. Mr. Ring?
Yes.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Ms. McDaniel? Yes. Mr. Mishniak?
Yes. T7664 passes and now becomes ordinance number 2024-136. 136. T7665, correct error in the pay ordinance. Clerk, read by title, please.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 2024-132 to correctly state the hourly pay range for the clerk of council and making the amendment retroactive to January 1st, 2024, and declaring an emergency in order to immediately correct the pay range.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
A first by Mr. Ring and a second by Ms. Glenn. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ring?
Yes.
Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Ms. Wagner? Yes. Ms. McDaniel? Yes. Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes, T7665, formerly known as 2024-132, now passes and becomes ordinance number 2024-137, 137. T7666, authorized contract with Unity Health for firefighter annual physicals. Clerk, read by title, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor and to enter into a contract with Unity Health Network to conduct annual medical examinations for firefighters for an amount not to exceed $18,500 and declaring an emergency so the firefighter medical examinations may be conducted as soon as possible.
Motion to adopt.
First by Mr. Ring and a second by Mr. Hannon to adopt the legislation. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ring?
Yes.
Mr. Hannon?
Yes.
Ms. McDaniel? Yes. Ms. Wagner? Yes. Ms. Glenn?
Yes.
Mr. Mishniak?
Yes, T7666 passes and becomes ordinance number 2024-138, 138. The next items up are items up for first reading. There are none. Items up for second reading. There are none. And items up for third reading. There are none. That takes us back to reopening the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mishniak. Today at the community center, all of the city employees were invited down. We had an employee appreciation lunch. Lunch was provided by the Heritage Commission.
It was really good. We had, probably 75 people out of 120. All the service department was there, and actually the on-duty policemen and on-duty firemen were there. Everybody was invited, so if they want to come on or off time, they could have. But it's something we'd like to make, or we are going to make it an annual event. The employees really appreciate it, and we did it because we really appreciate the employees. Our folks do good work for us, and I'm very proud of what they did. So we had a little bit of luncheon for them and handed out some certificates, and we'll continue to improve it as we move forward. And speaking of the community center, Greg hasn't alluded to it out here, but we are quickly filling up. Our rentals at the community center are very popular, and if somebody's planning on doing something, they need to get them in, because we're a couple months out now.
We've already scheduled graduation parties for May, June, and July.
So it has
dates left in June.
In addition to being a great place for our seniors to gather, it's proven to be to fill a need for people in the city to have some place affordable where they can have their birthday parties and Christmas parties and everything else. And I expect once the word gets out, number one, how clean the place is and how well kept it is, that more and more people will be signing up and we'll start having to do stuff during the week, because the weekends will be filled. IT Matt has been working on the traffic cameras. I'll put it right out there. We're not recording anybody, okay? But the traffic cameras, we had an issue with them being able to transmit back to dispatch, and IT Matt worked with a consultant, and they were able to find a hitch and a giddy up, and now we will be getting good, clear pictures that they will record for just a very short period of time. Isn't that correct, Chief? The intersection cameras will record just for a very short period of time?
They're not recording right now. We have recording data until next year.
There you go. The amount of data that would be recorded would be just outrageous. So if we do record something, it's only going to be for a very short period of time, just to keep that. And that would be if there were to be an accident at an intersection, we could actually look at and determine who actually was at fault. But it's going to be a good thing for us. And we have IT Matt's also been working on. We've been installing more and more I guess we would call them surveillance cameras around the different buildings and things like that. And we were able, because we had them in place, we were able to find someone that had basically trespassed onto our property, although it wasn't marked and there was nothing we could do about it. I believe they were there for nefarious reasons, and we will be able to have the cameras. We'll have cameras at the splash pad, at the playground, at the Oval. They'll be around City Hall. We have them around Service Department now. We've always had them at the Police Department, and we'll have a few more in the park. Unfortunately, it's the world we live in, and the video cameras do help us to determine, if someone was there for reasons other than playing baseball. So we're going to continue down that path, and that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next item is President Council comments. I'm going to make a special request for the law department for the next regular council meeting. I had brought up before, and we never got it onto an agenda because we just forgot about it, but it's rearing its head again. I don't know if you all remember where I talked about I wanted to see the city keep its uniform policy on political signage. I think it's reasonable, it's good, and we keep having these HOAs that come up with their own versions of what people can have and what they can't have, what types of political signs. And I wanted a piece of legislation for election season that just said, the city ordinance rules. The rest of your stuff doesn't. So in an HOA, you can't tell your residents, you can't have signs up on this issue, but you can have them up on that issue. Or you can't have signs at all, or those type of things. So I wanted an ordinance that just says that no, I don't even know what, I'll leave it to the law department to draft the language, but that says our ordinance, our city ordinance is what is uniform for the whole city. And that's what residents must follow. And that no HOA shall prevent political signage from being posted, that anybody living in an HOA can post anything in compliance with the city ordinances. And that's it. Just leave it nice and simple. Takes them out of the game. They're different in each HOA. I've fielded complaints from different people in different HOAs. I can speak to mine. Ours doesn't address political signs. It addresses signs that advertise. So some people on the board have taken upon themselves to say, well, that's an advertisement. And other people are like, no, that's not an ad, it's political speech. An ad is when you're selling something or advertising a roofing company or something like that. What about an ad for your house? That's a real estate sign. Because all ours says is no advertisements, and the board is, some on the board have said any political signs are considered an ad. You can't put them up in Stonegate. And I posted on our forum, that's just not true. Political signage isn't an ad. And so I would like an ordinance on the 14th that we can vote on by emergency. We can clean it up later, but that protects all residents from these hodgepodge rules in different areas where they live and lets everybody know, okay, what is the rules for political signs? Look at the city ordinance. And it's uniform across the city. And if you're in an HOA and you're on a board and you're power hungry, you can't go and tell your neighbors they can't put up a Vote Glenn Broska sign or Justin Ring. You can't do that as an HOA. Go ahead.
How do you want us to address, okay, our ordinance says 45 days in advance of an election, okay? We had multiple people that up in their yard, okay, they had political signs well before the 45 days, okay? I was hesitant to send the zoning inspector out there because they were, some of them were they were all for specific candidates and things like that. And generally, as a rule, our political signs are allowed to be out 45 days in advance, and they should be behind an imaginary line for the telephone poles. Okay, they're not allowed to post in our right of way. And I'll take the hit. We've told a few people to move them back, okay? But as far as political signs and stuff like that, everybody knows we're kind of in a charged election right now. And I did not want to put the city in a position, well, the city's for this person, or the city's for that person, okay? I know it's my job, but I don't want to put the city in that position.
I think it was smart on your part, yeah. That's an enforcement thing, I think, Glenn, for you to decide. And I think you made the right choice there. I don't see a problem with that. I see where some of these HOAs are going to, as signs get bigger over the next 2 or 3 weeks, they're going to say, you can't have that. That's an advertising sign. And people are going to post in the forums. What I'd like to be able to do is say, after October 14th, no, the city actually has a rule in place that prohibits HOAs and whatever political subdivision organizations from doing anything different and restraining residents any differently than the city ordinance. That their rules are null and void. The only thing that matters is the city ordinance. And I think you're going to have to make it.
Can they do that though?
Well, I think you're going to have to make it an offense. Yeah.
I don't. I sat on the board of an HOA, and the HOA is its own business and entity. And when you move in, you sign the contract saying you'll abide by those bylaws. And I don't think the city has any power over telling an HOA what they can and can't implement in their own rules. Like if the city says you can park on city streets, the HOA can come and say, well, you can't park on our HOA streets, and they can do that.
You could pass an ordinance that says no HOA can pass an ordinance that says you can't park on our streets. That's
I just don't.
I think
I'd like to see case law. Like I'd like to see that.
I don't want to defer to. I don't want to defer to the HOAs. That's.
I don't know if we have a choice there.
Oh, for sure
It's been through these issues, because I remember we raised it in ours because we were not allowed to have signs, period, in our HOA, and we raised it. And there are definitely Ohio Supreme Court decisions on HOAs that HOAs have the ability to restrict
flags.
They have ability to restrict a lot more than you think. They couldn't restrict the free speech signage, but they could restrict the size. Like ours now has a size. You can't be more than a 2 foot by 3 foot sign. You can't have a big,
you're correct.
jumbo
You're
sign.
correct.
But so I'm just wondering if the city as a city has the ability to regulate what HOAs do or what they don't. Like I've never seen that.
Well, I'm sure it will be.
HOAs.
The law department, I am sure they will research.
Yeah.
And all I'm asking for is an ordinance that says the city ordinance trumps. And
I don't disagree with you.
No HOA shall enforce against a resident any plan. You probably have to make it a misdemeanor punishable by a fine because it's a political,
Who are you
levying organization.
Levying it against? Oh, so.
Well, some of the HOAs actually prohibit a real estate sign in the front yard. You have to put it in a window.
Yeah.
It's gonna.
I'd like to see the research on that though, because I don't want us to get into a lawsuit. I don't want an HOA to sue us saying you don't have any ability to regulate our rules.
They don't have the money in this city. The HOAs don't have the money to file a suit like that, so I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Oh, they can find someone to do it for them. Believe me.
Well, if you could prepare that legislation, I don't want to. What I don't want to do is do what we've been doing is defer to them, and then they're running around like tyrants, telling their residents, you can't have a real estate sign. You can't have. This isn't addressing real estate signs. It's addressing political speech only. And I think our city ordinance is. I think it's a really good ordinance. It's fair. The signage, the size, the date, time, place, and manner restrictions are good. I just want a restriction on the HOAs from saying, yeah, that's fine, but not here.
I think that's where you're going to run into a sticky wicket, Mr. Mishniak, is if you say political signs, because political signs have been proven over and over again to be free speech.
Yeah.
And I mean, then we are looking at a constitutional thing. And if we specifically draft the ordinance for political signs, I think that's where we would get in more trouble.
No, because we're saying HOA, you can't ban them.
You can't ban them.
We're not banning them. That's where we would get in trouble.
We're actually protecting. What we're doing is we're protecting.
All right, I understand
We're protecting our turf, saying we set the rules for political signs, not you private entities.
Right.
And I think we could do the same thing for a parking ban in an HOA. I think we could say no HOA shall set its own parking rules. The city's parking rules shall remain as the supreme law of the land.
So let me ask this question: if a strip plaza decided they didn't want any of their tenants to display any political signage, and they told them you're not allowed to do it, could the city come in and say, no business shall restrict their tenants from displaying a political sign?
You could.
Because that's the same thing. See, I don't know if you can do, I don't think you can do that, but I'm sure he'll research it.
I'll research it.
Yeah.
Not their clients, but the business itself.
Well, like if the Market Square, the plaza, the landlords came down and said, Chuggers, Dean, all you guys, you can't have any political signs in your windows or anywhere.
If the city were to do that, we couldn't.
No. But can the city tell the owners of that building, you're not allowed to make that law because it's political speech?
I think you can.
I don't think you can.
If they put it in your lease, and you sign the lease.
But the HOA that's in the HOA and you've signed the HOA, this is where I'm going with
this. This is going to be a sticky wicket. You better save a couple hours that.
You don't have to debate this up here.
That was all I had. So draft one for us, and I just think if we pass it that night, the HOAs will back off from calling everybody and saying, take your signs down. Then we can clean it up over the next 2 years.
If you draft one, can you please bring the relevant case law and research? Because I will not vote for it if I think we're going to get sued.
Oh, come on.
No.
I've never seen you run from. All right. Council members' comments. Mr. Ring, go ahead.
I'm not going to vote for it if we, no.
All right, Lisa. John.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Sweat. Arian.
I just want to say that I'm happy that we are filling in that last remaining stretch of Route 14. You'll notice that I talked to him about that, and I was not aware of that until I saw that on Facebook, that there was just one stretch from the center of town all the way to Walmart where we had no sidewalk. So thank you to the mayor, thank you to, I think, the Miller brothers over here, and anyone else that's involved in that. I think that's great that we're making our city more walkable for our residents.
Good. Go ahead, John.
I just wanted to say, I believe this is our last meeting with Carolyn for a little bit of time. So we wish you the best of luck. Get well soon, and hopefully we see you back here.
Private healthcare information, John, you're reviewing it publicly.
I just said get well soon. Didn't say anything, but good luck and let us know if you need anything.
All right. Hearing none. The next meeting is scheduled for Monday, October 14th, and there will be a safety committee, a service committee, and a regular council meeting. And we're not doing special finance, are we? Okay, we do it on safety. On Monday, October 14th, starting at 7 p.m. in council chambers. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
First and second, all in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Just let me ask you this.
Thank you, everybody.
Passes
I know,
along.
I know. Once you get out for, you just.